Okay, I'm Steve, and I'm back. A little while ago, I did a video about how to, unsuck your bass fishing. Well, there's some questions out there, and here's one that a lot of people are going to ask. They're going to say, Steve, I'm not really good at skipping with a baitcaster. Okay? Now, here's a confession for you. I'm not Brian Thrift. I'm not Andy Montgomery. I can skip okay with a baitcaster. Kinda. Sometimes. When I do it a lot. But what if you're cold? What if you're not really planning on doing it? Okay? What if you can skip with this? A spinning rod. Why shouldn't you? What's wrong with it? The only thing wrong with skipping with a spinning rod is everybody's skipping one of three baits. They're skipping a Ned rig. They're skipping a shaky head. They're skipping a Senko or some other wacky rig type of worm. Why are they doing it? Because it's easy. Hold on for a second. I'm going to give you 4 other baits that you can skip with a spinning rod that the fish don't see all the time. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for an advantage. Okay, bait number 1 that fish don't always see if you're skipping under docks, under trees, stuff like that. This little guy right here. See that? Now some people are going to say, it's a swim jig. I always skip a swim jig. Well, this swim jig only weighs 1/8 of an ounce. It's got a little 2-point-something inch swim bait on it. And it'll skip really good under a dock with a spinning rod. Also, it's got a nice wire hook. That nice little wire hook gets set in the fish's mouth pretty easy. Again, spinning rod. How many of you are actually skipping with this thing? I'll bet you not a lot. Let's go to number 2. Bait number 2 is a bait that I'll bet you not many of you are actually fishing, let alone skipping under a dock, so it's got to be good. And it still catches fish. What is it? It's a grub. This is a 4-inch Fat Albert Grub made by Zoom. Buy it anywhere. But who's fishing it? Not a lot of people. Now here's the other thing. Who's skipping a grub under a dock and swimming it out? Certainly not a lot of people. Gives you a good bait fish profile, especially like when there's bluegill and stuff or small bait fish. You don't have to use green pumpkin. You can use avocado, black, or any number of other colors. But again, a grub is something these fish are not seeing. So there's another advantage that you can skip real well with a spinning rod. Bait number 3. A tube. Now a tube's a little more popular, but it's more popular for open water fishing. 15 years ago when I had hair and I was young, everybody was flipping a tube. Now who's flipping a tube? Not a whole lot of people. And now let's put something on top of it. Who's skipping a tube under a dock? Certainly not a lot of people. Now it may be more popular in the Midwest or up north or something right now, but I guarantee you there's a lot of areas where they don't see a tube a whole lot. This has got an 1/8 ounce jig head in it, and man, it will skip a mile. And fish love them. What's not to use about a tube? It makes perfect sense. Let's go to number 4. Number 4. Now it's not the easiest bait to skip, but it will skip. I almost shouldn't show you this. It's a hair jig. Nice little hair jig. Guys like Seth Feider catch a lot of fish on a hair jig. Now, largemouth will eat this just as good as smallmouth will. And let me show you something. This one's got a weed guard. So you could take this and skip this almost anywhere you would skip anything else. You could also put a trailer on it, if you choose. If not, just the natural action of the marabou hair or whatever kind of hair this is. Certainly not my armpit hair, but you know, it's hair. Again, another bait that fish don't see under docks. Now I told you there was 4. I'll give you a 5th as a bonus. Now, bait number 5, the bonus bait. It's a bait that it gets skipped under a dock a lot. I'll tell you that right away. But what if you have a spinning rod? What if you can't skip with a bait caster? You take yourself, put some 20-pound braid on that spinning rod, and you skip yourself a frog. A frog will skip amazingly with a spinning rod. And if you've got enough backbone to set the hook, you can hook a lot of fish on a frog. Especially if the person you're fishing with isn't very good at skipping or isn't fishing a frog. If they're fishing on the bottom, why fish on the bottom? Fish up top. The other thing is now they're making some frogs in a little bit smaller sizes. This is the normal size. It's like a 55 or a 65, whatever it is. But I know they make like a 40 size, which is a lot more smaller and probably harder to skip on a bait caster. So if you skip that little frog around a dock, it's legal cheating to me. It's like a cheat code on a video game. All these baits. Show them something you haven't shown them. Show them something nobody's shown them. So, that's your 4 with a bonus 5 baits that skip under a dock really good on a spinning rod. And they're not a Senko, a Ned rig, or a shaky head. Till next time, see ya.